So I think this is pretty fitting considering the fact that last week I literally put out an individual video talking about how well the offensive line was doing through 3 weeks. And they completely just made me eat my words this past week against the New York Giants. I think there's one thing people are overlooking, though. There was a pretty good adjustment at halftime. They still did not look good. Just want to put that out there. But, Fields showed improvement from weeks 2 and 3, and we need him to level up again this upcoming week. David Montgomery and the running back room are more important than ever entering week 5 against the NFC, our first NFC, our potential first big win in the NFC North. I think that the Vikings are a beatable team. I'm just putting that out there. The Saints are not the Saints anymore. You just had Sean Payton's not there anymore.
Andy Dalton. I mean, that was our guy too. Yeah, Andy Dalton almost beat him.
Wait. I just want to put out there. You just said our guy.
Oh, whoa. Yeah, not my guy.
You roast me. You just said our guy. I'm
right.
clipping that.
I apologize. He was literally on the Bears is all I meant. Your
gotcha.
Guy. Yeah.
My guy. But David Montgomery, I hope he's back this upcoming week. And then just something I want to put out there real fast. Do not expect Ryan Poles to go out there and get drastic changes in the wide receiver room over the next couple of weeks. This team is developing. There is no doubt about that. And we just have to, unfortunately, deal with what's going on. And I'm missing Brian Pringle. That's all I want to put out there. Tony, my name is Nick Brody, joined alongside Tony Sapita. Just want to put that out there for you guys. We're here to bring you the offensive review through 4 weeks so far. But Tony, any more comments before we go into the offensive line?
Yeah, just an overall Fields underperforming the first couple of weeks and Getsy's play calls and kind of whoever you want to necessarily blame for the first the at least passing struggles the first couple of weeks. It really covered up how do I put this? A stinky pile of doo-doo that is the rest of the offense, besides the running backs, obviously. We saw them on full display every week so far, but it's interesting. This may be this may be an issue the rest of the season.
It's unfortunate, just putting that out there. But the most unfortunate part of it all is the offensive line. I think that's where Tony and I want to kick off today. Is the offensive line was bad as a whole during the entire New York Giants game. Not as bad in the second half. I think it's very overlooked. That's just how bad the first half went. Not saying that the second half was Pro Bowl level, but it was a bad, very bad first half. 6 total sacks allowed against the third worst quarterback pressure defense entering week 3. The Bears actually only gave up 1 of those sacks in the second half. So good adjustment by offensive line coach Chris Morgan. What do you say? What do you say to the guys today, Tuesday, October 4th, 2022, when you walk into House Hall? I mean, Eberflus publicly criticized them. That's your head coach. I don't even want to know what Chris Morgan is saying to his guys this morning. But overall, a good adjustment to him in the second half against the Giants.
Yeah, this is going to be one of those weeks. If anyone played, football at any level, obviously, I can't imagine we all played at the professional level. I definitely did not. But it's definitely one of those weeks where it's like, all right, clearly we don't know how to play football. Clearly we don't know how to, actually do our job. So we're going to go fundamentals. We're just going to hit each other. We're just going to kind of go back to basics, which it always worked at, again, the very unprofessional level. So maybe it'll work at the professional level. Little stat for you guys. I always come prepared with the stats. You know that.
Big stats guy.
Yep. So the Bears offensive line as a unit is ranked now 27th in pass blocking with an efficiency rating of 72. I believe it's out of 100 from Pro Football Focus. 55 total pressures given up on 149 pass block snaps.
And they were ranked 10th last week. 10th. They dropped 17 spots with how bad against this Giants team it went. And I mean, the Giants showed that they're rebuilding too. I mean, they would be saying this about the Bears, but they do not deserve to be 3-1. I just want to put that out there. The Giants are a beatable team. They have Barkley. Daniel Jones is not the quarterback that he usually was against the Chicago Bears. But the Giants are 3-1. We're 2-2. I got to give my hat off to Giants fans, not to New York. Tony hates New York.
Yep.
But one thing I do want to call out with the offensive line before we go into Justin Fields is that I'm worried about Mustipher at center moving forward. Because Lucas Patrick looks like that hand is ready to go. He was ready to become the starting center, and they would keep Whitehair at left guard. But Whitehair is going to be out for some time, according to Matt Eberflus, with a knee injury that he suffered against the New York Giants. And Lucas Patrick is forced practically now to play guard because the only guy with enough reps at center is now Sam Mustipher. Just bad situation to be in for the Chicago Bears. Very tough.
Yeah, I completely agree. My one hope, obviously we're being negative and rightfully so. My one hope for the this coming week and the rest of the season is that this coaching staff does seem to be big on like the effort levels and getting more out of guys than certain past coaches, perhaps. Mustipher is a paid professional. These guys are paid professionals. This is their job at the end of the day. So I don't doubt his passion or really any of their passion or their heart. So hopefully that does translate to growth from this. This is something they can learn from. I'm not saying it will happen. I'm not actually confident it will happen. That is my hope and my prayer.
Did you see that Sam Mustipher is blocking everyone talking crucially of him on Twitter? Like some Bears reporters that sit in the room and ask players and coaches questions. He's just flat out blocking them. And now the joke on Twitter is, all right, well, at least he can block something. So, yep. I mean,
it's what I was about to make. So yeah,
it's just so stupid. You're going to get criticism as a professional athlete. Take that, make it fire and play better next game. But he got destroyed on a couple plays up the middle this past week. I mean, I'm giving Mustipher a D+, and that's being generous about how he played last week. But
I think you nailed that grade. Yeah.
But also Tevin Jenkins is being so overlooked right now with how well he's playing. I'm giving him a B+. I think Tevin Jenkins is doing a fantastic job, especially with everything that's happened over the last couple months. I think Tevin Jenkins is doing a good job. I'd give Larry Borum probably a C. I think he's playing average. He's still a second-year player. You got to understand a lot of these guys are just still young, and this is a rebuilding year. Bears fans have very high expectations, though. But Braxton Jones is getting a B+ also for a rookie left tackle to be doing what he's doing. The offensive line is bad in certain spots. And yes, we are practically calling out Sam Mustipher for a very bad game. So, 6 sacks total given up against the New York Giants. Not ideal. Tony, anything else before we go to Justin Fields?
Yeah, my last thing too is, again, I know we're very negative on the offensive line.
I was positive.
No. I mean, we, the Royal
as a whole,
Bears fans, and the entire league, all the media. There were a couple of those sacks. Definitely the one, I know we talked about it yesterday, Khalil Herbert. I mean, he just ran away from a guy off the edge. So, I mean, there's issues at all levels with blocking. I don't want to fully put it on them, but it's definitely something's got to get shaken up. I don't know what they do to just make Mustipher magically a better blocker, but maybe
I hate that he's wearing
translate his Twitter skills to the game. Haha, I made the joke too now.
Yeah. I just I think I just hate that he wears the Jordan 1s. That he's the only guy in the offensive line that wears those cool Jordan 1 cleats, and I'm like, dude, you gotta oh, we lost Tony.
Nope, I'm back.
Welcome back. We lost you like Sam Mustipher lost his swag. So anyway, let's go back to the Justin Fields showing improvement, though, over the last couple games. Just a couple call-outs I want to make is that improvement-wise, we'll go into areas of improvement that he needs to focus on this week, is that Justin Fields, the deep ball looked a lot better because we actually threw it, and Justin Fields can throw it downfield, and it looked pretty darn good. Choosing when to run the ball looked better. He didn't look like that was his initial decision, but when he saw that was the opportunity because the wide receivers could not do anything to get open, he looked at the running lanes and he made effective yards. I mean, 7 rushes on 52 yards. That's pretty darn good for a guy that, had struggled in that category.
They were big rushes.
And they were big rushes.
Yeah.
Yes, 100%. And all things considered, his over the middle passing looked better. So, I mean, those are improvements that I think we need to take away from. Fields had his most passing yards in a game. That's not really saying much, but I think he could break 200 next week at this rate if his stock keeps going the right direction.
I agree. Yeah, my one, Nick, you kind of hit on everything, and obviously there's little things we could, point out, I'm sure too. But overall, he seemed to trust his pocket presence a little more, which maybe is also why he got sacked 6 times. But he let things develop before bailing a little bit more this week, which was nice. And obviously that's why I think we saw a much better passing game out of him.
It's like the trust fall. He kept going back, especially when your friends would sometimes not catch you. He was like, they got me. So I think he did trust his offensive line a little too much in some situations. I think he should have broke it out a little bit more. Now I'm giving Fields permission to do that because now seeing replay, his line did not do a good job at moments. In the second half, yes, but his wide receivers can't get open. We'll go into that in a minute. But before we go into more, before we hit on more, we'd like to invite you to our Week 5 viewing party against the Minnesota Vikings.
Yep, October 9th at Murphy's Bleachers in Wrigleyville, Illinois. Come out and watch the Chicago Bears take on the Minnesota Vikings. Boo. Free beer while supplies last. Go to the back left bar near the garage doors and come watch Dub Bears. Facebook event is in our description. We'd love to see you all there.
And also, we will have other games viewing at Murphy's, but this will be a pretty much dominated Bears section. And if you bring your Minnesota Vikings fans, they deserve to get shots of Malort, and we're not paying for those. Mm-hmm. So just putting that out there. But let's go into a positive of the team so far is that the running back room, no pun intended, is literally carrying the offense. Without our running back room, we'd be toast. We all know it. Even, Khalil Herbert's doing a fantastic job. Another 100+ yard total yard game from our running back room, which arguably is impressive. I know some individual running backs do that. But overall, they did a really nice job this past week against the New York Giants. Herbert had 101 total yards offense. Ebner, who did not get me, I'm still salty about my parlay, my 5-leg parlay. You can go to our last episode and hear about my 5-leg parlay that Ebner couldn't get for me. Thanks. But, both of them did a pretty good job against the Giants. But, man, do I miss Monty's pass blocking. I mean, no offense to Khalil Herbert, but he did not do what David Montgomery does against defensive linemen.
No, and you hit it right on the head where you said this running back room is elite, I think, personally. Just imagine if we had that competent passing game too, which again, blame whoever you want there for, whether it's offensive line, Fields, or Getsy. But we'd be talking about these guys as arguably best in the league. I mean, that's how I view them, but I think the media and kind of the league would also see that too. But now with the fact that these teams can just key on the run every time, definitely makes it hard to, and they're still getting those yards. That's the craziest part. That's what makes them so wonderful, in my opinion.
And we'll have injury report in this Thursday's episode. We do have a couple special guests over the next couple days. We will be live streaming tonight with Nate Atkins, which we're excited about. Tony might be able to make it. I don't know. I haven't consulted him on that. But Nate Atkins will be joining us from the Bears Wire. We'll also have Avev Kumar joining us, our good friend. And then we have another big special guest that you guys are going to love to see coming up later this week. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Let's go into the final topic of the day. And just want to put this out there, and I said it earlier, do not expect Ryan Poles to go out and make any drastic changes to the wide receiver room. I know guys like OBJ are out there that could instantly make an impact for this team, but this is a rebuilding year, and part of that rebuilding year is N'Keal Harry coming back. He was supposed to technically be active last week because it was a 4-week IR, but I haven't heard anything else, so stay tuned for that. We'll have that in our later episodes and on our Twitter and Instagram. But yikes. I mean, no one's getting separation for Justin Fields. And you can't blame Fields if none of his guys are getting open. And of course, when they are open, Fields is taking advantage of it. And also he has pass protection. But, wow. He needs these guys to get open in order to have confidence. I mean, St. Brown is a better running back right now, like Deebo Samuel, than a wide receiver. I mean, and he is one of the lone receiving touchdowns from week 1. But, the Bears got to do something with these wide receivers. I mean, that falls on the wide receivers coach as well.
Yeah, and I got one more stat for the crew before we get out of here. So I want to shout out Brad Spiegler. I believe I pronounced that correctly. He's Esquire. Also, I apologize if you hear a train in the background. Comes around once a week. Happens to be right train. Now. I guess, yeah. So Brad Spiegler, guess he's a lawyer. So had to mention that. He put out a chart. Very smart follow. I'll give him that. He put out a chart that shows Fields has the lowest amount of dropbacks without pressure. It's about 57% compared to the league average of 73%, as well as the lowest dropbacks with a wide receiver deemed open or wide open, which is at a tick above 35%, with 48% being above league average. So again, we can be quick to jump on Fields, not saying that he doesn't deserve, certain criticisms. Everything's bad. It's not just him. That's the whole point. I mean, the wide receivers gotta do more. I mean, which I don't blame them either. They aren't exactly the most talented group. In the nicest way I can say that.
Famous Pee Wee football quote that we all learned is that there's no I in team, but there is an I in win. And in the NFL, that is, you cannot be a one-man show. Just putting that out there. Not even Tom Brady's a one-man show. Putting that out there as well. That's a debate that you guys can have in the comments. But anyway, so one thing I want to call out is that I think one thing that's hurting this wide receiver room is not having Byron Pringle back. The team was doing a lot better when he was on the field, all things considered. I know the stats don't show it, but there was actually separation. And he's a strong over the middle wide receiver for the Kansas City Chiefs. That's a huge reason why we brought him in. And, he had that one big play against the Texans where he was over the middle. It was for 26 yards. And of course he got tackled and got hurt. So unfortunate there, but I think that he could be a big impact when he does come back, and hopefully that helps Fields' confidence out, especially from a veteran wide receiver.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And it's not necessarily that he's a stud wide receiver or anything. He's just an upgrade over having
100%.
Basically no one out there. I mean, not to take away from Mooney, and St. Brown has been definitely better than I probably expected, but it'd just be nice to have I don't know, just someone else out there.
Just someone out there that catches the ball and gets separation. Holy cow. But that is Tony and I's evaluation of the offense through week 4. We're happy to bring that to you guys. We will be going through the defense along with more questions. So stay tuned for tonight, which will be defensive conversation. And we will be having more information. Make sure that you go and check out the Murphy's event, and make sure that you follow us on social media for all updates and giveaways. We will have more coming up here. But with that, thank you very much for joining this episode of Just Another Year Chicago. My name is Nick Rohde, joining alongside Tony Sapita, and we'll see you guys next time.